Hey, Shalom, Lakem, Kol Yeshua. How's your peace, Israel? Welcome back to another video. And we are back again. We are in the Pseudepigrapha. We are going to be reading out of the book of Enoch, first Enoch, okay? And we're going to start at chapter 1, Echad, okay? And it reads on this wise. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me. From them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appearing in his strength of his might from heaven of heavens, and all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear shall seize them until the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. Verse 7 says, and the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is on the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and he will protect the elect. Okay, this is a prophecy, by the way, about in the latter days, the judgment. It says, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed, and he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. Right? This hasn't happened yet, sorry. And behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones. So anyone who's read in the book of Jude, right? It says that he's coming with 10,000 saints. So this is the second witness. What Jude talks about in the book of Jude says that the Messiah is going to come with 10,000 of saints. In the book of Enoch, it's saying the same thing. It's saying, verse 9 says, and behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all and to destroy all ungodly. Okay? And to convict all flesh and of all the works of their ungodlessness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against them. This is chapter 2. It says, observe ye everything that takes place in heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries, i.e. the moon, which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of these things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold, the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they have withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees, which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years till the new comes. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you shall seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun, and the earth also burns with glowing heat, so you cannot tread on the earth or on the rock by reason of its heat. Oh, I see. So this is this is what it's going to be like at that time. There is an area in the Bible where it talks about, it talks about the Euphrates River drying up. So I guess there's a lot that's going to take place at these times because the Euphrates. I think the earth is generally going to, the heat of the earth is going to start coming to a place where a lot of these places, the waters are going to start drying up and things like this. It's going to get hot. And actually, some of the, if you read in the book of Revelations, you'll find that some of the trumpet blasts, there's 7 trumpet blasts, there's 7 seals. Sorry, there's seven seals, sorry. 7 seals and 7 trumpets. And I think one of the trumpets is that people will receive boils from the sun. So I think putting this together with Enoch and Revelation, in that time of judgment, there's going to be a period where the earth is going to start heating up, either because of, I don't know what celestial situations would cause that to happen, but maybe, I don't know, maybe just the sun starts producing more solar flares and anything could happen. But in this case, I think the earth is going to get hotter in some cases. It says, observe ye the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how recognize how he that liveth forever have made them so, and all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they, still in chapter 5, accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God hath ordained, so it is done. And behold, the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and you shall find no mercy. In those days you shall make your names an external execration unto all the righteousness of people trying to, call himself bishop this or prophet this. There's no need for yourself to call yourself a prophet. Let people call you, let people boast of you, but you don't boast of yourself. You don't, like, we're nothing without the Spirit. So who are we to, it's obviously, it talks about in the book of Sirach, or you can call it Ecclesiastes, it says, having a name is better than gold. It talks about a name is finer than gold. You see what I'm saying? A good name is better than gold and silver. And it's true, because a name lives on. If you walk a particular walk, that name is going to live on until eternity. People are going to remember this person did really well. And, and if your child bears that same name, and you see what I'm saying, that name is going to hold strength, right? But calling yourself a prophet and all this stuff, that's not really your name. That's like a title. And it's these titles that people are going to use to kind of gain glory, but it don't mean nothing. Okay. It says, in those days you shall make, this is verse 6. It says, in those days you shall make your names an external execration unto all righteousness, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the there's a blank here, shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all you sinners, there shall be no salvation, but on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect, there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth, right? And then there shall be then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin. Okay, this is dealing with the covenant, that he's going to make with Israel and Judah, right? And that talks about that he's going to put the laws in their heart. Once he puts the laws in their heart, they won't be able to sin no more. You see, everyone will know. It says that this is in the book of Jeremiah, I think it's chapter 31, right? He's going to make a new covenant with the house of Israel and house of Judah, and he's going to put the laws in their heart, and the least of them will know God. No one will be teaching anyone. It talks about the same thing in the book of Hebrews. This is what this bit is talking about. It's saying, and they shall all live and never sin again. Because once he's made that new covenant, he's come back. That's it. You see what I'm saying? We've now been brought onto that covenant, right? It says, either through ungodliness or through pride, but they who are wise shall be humble. Yeah. So you know something, but that knowing something is knowing how much you don't know. Like as you get wiser in this thing, or you gain wisdom, you start realizing how much more there is to unpack, and that humbles you. You see, when you grab onto a little bit of information and you're thinking you're something great, you know, the Father will humble you. You know, He'll send someone in your life that will make you feel a bit small, and then you'll realize that, okay, this is a long-term thing. This is a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint. It's not about who can quickly get this information, and ain't about that. It's about cycles. Getting comfortable and patient with cycles. Things are happening in cycles, in cycles of 7. The Shabbat is every 7 days. You've got to get used to being in these cycles, because He speaks to you in these cycles. There's a Sabbath year. Every 7 years, there's a year of rest and a year of release. When you get on the Father's cycles of things, then it instills patience, because you know the days when He's going to communicate with you and tell you what's going to happen next. But if you're out of the cycle, you're out of His. You're not part of the business meeting. You know, you're not turning up to the weekly meetings that he's giving his team insight to what's supposed to happen within the business. Let's continue. It says, and there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, and either through godlessness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die or of divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of their days of their life. That's a positive thing, right? And their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. Chapter 6. It says, and it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied in those days, were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters, right? Anyone has read in the book of Genesis, this is the bit where we talk about the watchers, right? This is the second witness, right? It says, and the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simyaza, this is a fallen angel, yeah, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. So this is showing you that he wanted to lay with one of the women, but the others, if they didn't do so, he was the one that was only going to be punished. So it's the leader that wanted to do so, right? So he's now thinking, like if I do this, I'm the one that's going to get punished. But you guys won't do the same thing. You might get away with this. So let's just see what happens. And then it says, I fear ye not, indeed, agreed to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Yared, right? Yared was, I believe he may have been the father of Enoch, right? On the summit of either the father of Enoch or the father of Methuselah, one of the two. I can't remember. I can't remember the top of my head. But you can just look in it, we have to study, these kind of videos I do. I've got videos where I precepts, I purposely go out my way to go and cross-reference and stuff like that. But, I want people to actually start doing their own due diligence and start searching things. So if I say go and research, go and do that yourself at some stage and just verify it, We have to be laborers, co-laborers. We all have to be putting in the work. You see what I'm saying? Because I know it's there, but it's important for those who are watching these videos to find out for themselves, yeah? It says, Yared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they call it Mount Hermon because they had sworn about themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And now the names of their leaders, Simiazas, the leader Arakiba, Ramael, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel. Now you'll notice that it says El in the end. El is like a shorthand for Elohim or Elohim, which is basically like a divine deity, it's a basically divine, basically God. It's just basically saying it's God, right? Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Aziel, Amaras, Batariel, Ananiel, Zachiel, Samsapiel, Samsafiel, Satariel, Turiel, Yoyael, Sariel. These are the chiefs of ten. So these are the fallen angels, right? These are the names of them. Okay, we're in chapter 7. It says, and all the others who took to themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them, i.e., to lay with them, right? And to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments, right? So all this modern day tarot cards and all these things, like all this witchcraft, just think about that, all this new age movement and stuff like that. This is all descends from these beings, right? It's telling you. It says here, it says they taught them charms and enchantments, the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. Now just know this, these angels were originally not coming down to cause harm to the children of man or of Adam. They were sent on a mission, but they compromised that mission. That's why they took this oath. They came down to do some work, but they ended up not fulfilling. Well, I'm not saying they wouldn't fulfill, but they ended up diverting. And some of the stuff here you can see is not necessarily negative, like making them acquainted with plants, right? It could have been negative, could have been positive. But here it just says acquainted with plants. Then it says, and they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds. And then when they say sin against birds, these means they're what? Mixing in with birds. They're genetically interbreeding with animals, right? Now, obviously, you're probably thinking, how could a giant interbreed with a bird? Well, these guys were highly intellectual beings. They weren't necessarily laying with birds, but they were doing genetic splicing. They were mixing their seed with these birds. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you're getting some of these statues. You see some of these statues in some of these countries where they've got the half fish, half man, and this is this part. This is what was happening. The city of Los Atlantis, what people talk about, where there was a really great city that perished. If anyone goes and looks, I know myself, right? But maybe I have to try to add somewhere in it's actually on my Instagram, I think. But there's a guy, he does a video on the maps of the world, and you find that what they class as America used to be called Atalan. And a lot of people used to think that the city of Los Atlantis was destroyed somewhere in between America and Africa, so somewhere in that water. But that's not the case. What actually destroyed the city of Atlantis was the flood. It was this great deluge that the Father sent upon the earth, right? They destroyed Atlantis. Atlantis was a great city that was run by these angels, and they were doing weird stuff, all these demigods they're creating, right? Now, you're going to find, when you start seeing in America, you'll find that a lot of them talk about their pyramids there that are a lot older than the ones that are in Egypt. Why? How are they older than Egypt if there was no one that was dwelling there before, the Columbus and all this sort of stuff? It's because those same pyramids, they predate way before even the children of Israel went to America. Those pyramids are way older. Those are going back to the time of Atlantis. That's why they're even under. You'll see that some of the pyramids, they're actually underground. They're like there's grass that's been grown over because it's been such a long time that they've actually become part of the actual land. But people have found underground cities, and that's what we'll find. Go and do your research. The city of Los Atlantis is what we class as America, and you'll find a lot of stuff in that place in America which really refers to where the pre-flood activity took place. Yeah, let's continue. So it says, and they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh. and they drank blood. This is obviously a problem, right? It says, and the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And Azazel taught men to make swords. So this is where war came from, right? War is not a normal thing. We shouldn't, from the beginning, what was war for? We didn't need to fight against each other. It's normal to us now because we've fallen so far. So we just, because we're born into it, you just see all this stuff that happens around us, and it's normal. Parents don't kick up a fuss about it. So if your parent doesn't kick up a fuss, then obviously you're just going to think that's life. It's not life. That's not normal. Because this is not what we use metal for. We weren't making metal to kill people, right? Use metal for, other things, maybe like other structures and stuff like that. But we weren't supposed to be using to kill each other. But look what Azazel did. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and the breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids and makeup. Some of these sisters that are slapping their face with all kinds of conditioner, all these different things on their face. That's what these angels taught them. You see, your natural beauty is good enough. Some of these sisters, they need to, they've just been sold a dream with all these magazines. When you look at the magazines, and they've got sisters that are, well, let's just say the Caucasian sisters, a lot of them there have been promoted more so as the models, you see, and they love putting on the makeup, and they're really skinny, they're almost anorexic, don't eat much, and that's what people class as beauty. And even the sisters, are now wearing wigs and stuff like that because that's what they aspire to be like. They're looking at the Gentiles thinking that, oh, they've got long hair and all this sort of stuff. That's how we need to be. And it's a shame. Like sometimes I wish to kind of express to the sisters that you're good enough as it is. You see what I'm saying? You can't, like our sisters have naturally curly hair. These people, they have to go and use machines to actually curl their hair and stuff like that. Every time our sisters try to make our hair straight, these Gentiles trying to make their hair curly. Some of these Gentiles are now doing cornrows. They're confusing themselves. They hate what they've got, but the other nations love what they've got, and they're just confused. You see what I'm saying? It's mad. It's just like Shaitan has made things backwards. What is great is bad, and what is bad is great. Anyway, I love curly hair. Curly hair is the way forward. I'm not saying I don't like straight hair. Straight hair is fine as well, but I'm just saying I don't see why you'd hate curly hair. Like there's a wet that. It's just, yeah, anyway. I don't know, let's continue. Where are we? And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Simyaza taught enchantments and root cuttings. Amoros, the resolving, where am I? The resolving of enchantments. Barakel taught astrology. So see, this is where astrology is coming into the equation. That's a difference with astronomy, though, right? Astronomy is understanding, the planets and things like that, and like the signs in the sky. That's a slight difference, knowing that there is something showing you of a particular event. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Astrology, again, is got some truth in it. There is a truth in it. There is 12 signs of astrology. There is definitely a connection with the astrological star signs with people and when they are born. I agree with that. The problem is that when you start using astrology to dictate your whole life, where you start looking at the daily astrology words of the day, and you kind of use astrology to govern your whole life, that's when it gets problematic. That's when you're trying to be God, because you're worshiping the created thing, because astrology was created. It's not something that you're supposed to like live by. It's a system behind the scenes that God's put in place. You should go to God first, and he will give you more than just astrology. Astrology is small change. It's just a small piece of the puzzle. You don't want to just be causing your whole life to be governed by just astrology. That's problematic. And that's what some of my brothers and sisters are doing. So caught up in astrology, they think that's it. That's all you need to know. And they're sadly mistaken. Anyway, it says Kokabel, the constellations, right? So the stars and what the celestial, yeah, it's kind of linked with astrology as well. and the house, they call it the house, all these houses, like the sun's in this house, and they go into so much detail. Anyway, Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel, the signs of the earth, Shamziel, the signs of the sun, Sariel, the course of the moon. As men perished, they cried, and they cry went up to heaven. So you can see the angels from what we're seeing here. Some of this stuff is positive, because I think knowing the course of the moon is not a bad thing. You see what I'm saying? So we can see that they taught us things. Some of them were negative, like swords and stuff like that. There was no need to introduce weaponry like that, unless it was to fight against animals, fine. But we shouldn't really have needed to fight against animals, because we had dominion over them. They were supposed to be obeying us. They were, they were actually listening to our voice. So by us having weaponry now, we are now getting to a stage where we're in conflict with the animals, which wasn't the case. Adam could call them. He called them and gave them names. They spoke. They actually spoke. He could speak to them. You see what I'm saying? They lost their speech after the fall of man. Chapter 9, it says, and then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the earth of their cries up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of ages, sorry, let me hold this thing properly. And they said to the Lord of ages, Lord of the lords, God of gods, King of kings, the God of ages, the throne of thy glory, standeth unto all the generations of the ages. Thy name holy and glorious, and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight. And thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest that Azazel has done, who have taught all unrighteousness on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. So I guess what it really was is that the Father had this information, but us falling like the way we had fallen, I would only presume that he thought if this information was to be known by them, and them knowing good and evil, they could use this information for bad. Do you get what I'm saying? So technically the angels were actually only teaching them the truth about things. But because we are now in a situation where we can do bad and good, we can actually take the systems that God has implemented and use them for bad. But when we were in a stage where we only knew good, these things would have been okay for us to know, because we would have only have taken them and used them in a righteous manner. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why the Holy Spirit has to come, so he can guide us to use these things for good. Do you get what I'm saying? He says, thou seest what, this is verse 6. Thou hast seest what, verse 6 of chapter 9. It says, thou seest what Azazel has done, who have taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. Semyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease, because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all these things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. Thou dost not say to us what we are to do with them in regard to these. Chapter 10, it says, then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, speak, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed will be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Judea, and cast him therein, and place upon rough and jagged rocks. Now, anyone who's read, I think it's in the book of Revelations, it talks about, the Euphrates River drying up, and those that were bound there will be released, right? And Azazel is one of them. You see, you can see that Azazel was bound, right, in the darkness. That's actually where he's been bound. He's been bound under the Euphrates River in utter darkness. So when the time comes when the Euphrates River is fully dried up, which is getting to that stage, a lot of it is dry, there's going to be 3 unclean spirits that are going to come out of the bottomless pit, I believe. And that's what Zazel is going to be one of them. Okay. So he says he's covered him with jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth with the angels, which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish, through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed, and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribed all sin, and to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against it says the bastards. And this is where you get the term bastards, because the bastards are the ones that actually are the descendants. That's where you actually get the term bastards from. Bastards, a lot of people talk about it's someone who's born out of wedlock, meaning like you're born without your parents being married. But actually a bastard was actually someone that was a descendant of the giants, of the fallen angels. They were called bastards, right? It says, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of the fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers. These were the bastards. That's why the name is a very negative name. Whenever you hear someone say bastard, it sounds bad, doesn't it? It sounds negative. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not because you were born out of marriage. Like, yeah, that's a negative thing. You should be married when you have children, but it's not that bad. You see, what was really bad was the fact that you being a descendant of these giants, okay? Because these people didn't like humans. You see, they're not like us. He says, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication. And the children, we're in verse 9, the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. So this is how he managed to destroy a lot of the giants. He caused them to fight against each other. He says, for length of days shall they not have, and no request that they make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years, as they thought. And the Lord said unto Michael, go and bind Simyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, as to defile themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment, and on their consummation, till the judgment that is there forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end. Let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. It shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live till they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all the plant and shall all be planted with trees and be full of blessings, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olive shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all ungodliness, and all the cleanliness that is wrought upon the earth, and destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. You see, this is a prophecy, right? This is a hallelujah. This is the time when, all is going to be made correct, and the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment, and I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation and forever. So there will never ever be a deluge. There's never ever going to be a flood. So all these films that they promote, flooding and putting fear in people's heart, that's the maybe sometimes be a flood. The Father promised us, based on us seeing the rainbow, that there will never be a flood. He'll never destroy the earth with flood, but he may destroy it with fire. That's the difference. Okay. He says, and in those days I will open the store chambers. This is chapter 11, verse 1. The store chambers of blessing, which are in the heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world and throughout all generations of men. Chapter 12. Before these things, Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what he had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessed. Enoch was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me Enoch, the scribe, and said to me, and the watchers we're talking about, these are the angels that fell, and now they're bound in utter chains and darkness. And that, you're going to see what Enoch kinds of a part to play here. Enoch was a wise man. He was given a lot of information. That's why we're reading this book. That's why I don't see why anyone should be not using the spirit to figure out what they should be reading on. Because if you don't read such books, you're losing out on understanding of life. Because Enoch was given the secrets. The book is called the Book of Secrets.